back to Tech Sheck, and we continue to bring lots of interesting, young, new, and cool things about Pakistan and the tech ecosystem. And today, lucky to have with us the General Counsel of Sarmayacar and also an expert on formation and development of startups in the Pakistani ecosystem, Mubariz Siddiqui. Welcome, Mubariz. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Farouk. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. And as we always do, let's jump right in. So Mubariz, tell us a little about yourself and how you got involved in this space.
Well, I started practicing law in 2008 at a law firm in Karachi, where I did corporate commercial work, got exposure. 3 years later, moved to another law firm. Again, that involved some M&A, some commercial litigation, etc. In 2015, I decided to start on my own independently. And that was down to my particular interest in developing my own firm, servicing SMEs and startups. And in 2015, that particular segment wasn't developed fully yet. I was working on my own startup as well, called Vokla at that point, and working independently, advising startups and early stage investors. And that's how the journey started. That's how I got involved in the ecosystem with Jahan at Nest, and that's where I used to work out of as my office. And yeah, that's how I got involved.
Wow, that's very cool. That's great. So tell me a little bit. You know, we've seen now, at least me from a Tech Check perspective, I've been involved in this space probably about a year and a half, and seeing a rapid inflow of money. I think this year we crossed $60 million in investment. From a US perspective, I know that's very small, but from a Pakistan perspective, it's very significant. What I wanted to understand from you, there seems to be a lot of interest, and that's even being driven in some ways through Tech Check. You know, someone wants to invest or come to Pakistan, start a company, start a concept, fund a concept. Top level ideas. What should someone be looking at, and what should someone be doing?
Well, there's the basics, right? The fundamental, I think the thesis should be around Pakistanis moving towards acquisition of goods and services that they usually do through a
Right.
new digital channel, right? And that's where fintech also comes in. That's where there'll be multiple different industries that are adjacent to it. So that's probably the best way to start thinking about Pakistan in terms of venture investment. Like you rightly pointed out, $60 million is a big figure for us, but globally, it really isn't. It's if you just look at India, we are just a fraction in terms of the compared to what the level of venture investments in India have happened with Pakistan. Whereas as an economy, we're probably much like the fraction, the delta is much lower. So the point is there's a lot of opportunity in Pakistan. It's a growing economy. It's a growing market. A lot of young people, of course. So the fundamentals all align. It's just about finding those opportunities which are realistic for Pakistan. And the good thing is for investors, they have benefit of some foresight. There's examples all around the world. You've seen Vietnam, Egypt, and you're seeing MENA as a whole. Things that are working there and things that you can predict should do well in Pakistan. So yeah, I would start with those. Start with that framework.
No, that's great. That's great. And last question I have for you, and that is, you know, the one thing that I've been getting feedback on is people are like, money going in, repatriation of money, trust factors. What are some ideas that you have around that? How can you perhaps bolster the audience a little bit or their confidence?
Well, if you just look at what the State Bank of Pakistan and the Securities Exchange Commission of Pakistan have been doing over the past 12 months, actually COVID months, and obviously sometime before, they're inching towards, I would say, but typically, but I think I would give them some credit. They had difficult COVID situation to handle, but we're moving in the right direction. The signal is right. They've recently introduced legislation, regulation, which allows for easier repatriation of profits, capital gains even by a foreign investor. They are now. I've been privileged to have been involved in the process of the new framework, which will allow Pakistani startups to make holding companies abroad. Which is essential for attracting institutional global VC funding. So the signals are all there. In the Companies Act, SCCP has introduced changes to facilitate startups and foreign investors. There's also this regulatory sandbox which allows for new concepts which are not covered in the current regulation but prohibited generally to be tested in a controlled environment. So yeah, the point being, the signal is all correct, and it's all focused on allowing more international investment into Pakistan. So it's a great time to be involved in this space.
Great. Well, good. Well, you know what? This was really interesting. And as you know, Mubariz, we try to keep these things fairly short. I'm sure there will be interest levels. So first of all, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for this conversation. And good job with Tech Sheck, by the way. I've enjoyed some of those conversations.
Thank you very much. And to our audience out there, as you can see, we keep finding interesting and new people, new concepts. There's a lot of good things happening in Pakistan. Stay tuned, keep watching, like, share, subscribe us. And with that, I'd like to say to you all, Allah Hafiz. Thank you very much.